Boom. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the All-Purpose Pod for an all-purpose life, wherever you are and however you're listening today. Call me Mr. You, the podcast. We thank you again for making us a part of your morning, your day, and your week. Your weekly beer check before you change the world, baby. Herb and Raj in the house. Bo is in the house. The fellows are in the building. Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good. How about you, man?
It's a beautiful morning. It's
not too shabby, brother. Not too shabby. The coffee is flowing, and sports news to talk about. Hey. Great way to start the day, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we got a lot on the docket today. A little bit of UFL. Heard to the games. We're going to bust that out shortly. Little Caitlin Clark can't keep her off of the table. Every show I go on throughout the course of the week, we're talking Caitlin Clark. I'm being asked to talk about her. I'm like, wow, this is like new territory for me. So we're going to touch on that today. It's always a good chance we're going to have some heated discussions about her whenever we do that, or the WNBA. A little bit of salary cap in the NFL, some free agency chat. If we can get college football in, definitely want to try. No trade rumors to really speak of right now, but you got guys like CeeDee Lamb that people are advising him not to hold out, and Higgins is out there still, and Ayuk, Debo. So a lot to talk about. We'll jump into it. But first off, let's go ahead and give my man Herb the floor regarding the UFL. I didn't get a chance to watch the Stallions, but I did hear about the second half of the championship weekend where the Brahmas pulled an upset against the Battlehawks, which is not actually what I expected to happen. Right. I am kind of surprised by that. The fact that the owner used to use the name the Brahma Bull in his professional wrestling career makes me think, the fix is in.
Yeah.
The Brahmas won, huh?
Yeah.
That interesting how that just turned out to be so coincidental, but it is what it is. But we're going to jump in, brother. You at the game?
Well, I can't let that one. I got to approach that one first. It might have been the worst outcome for the league, though, to not have St. Louis in the game. You know, so like if the fix was in, did his ego get ahead of what is best for the league? Because you know what I mean? Like that would be interesting that that's what happened. But I know they couldn't do this. I know they had to plan ahead. But man, having the game at one of the champions, like one of the team, like it just had to be the outcome. You know what I mean? Especially for your first year. And so I expected like the worst called game of the year for San Antonio and St. Louis. I expected like flags, people getting ejected in the second quarter just to have St. Louis win because like I would think that's the best thing for them.
I mean, AJ McCarron was so beat up
out there, and they don't have any.
Yeah,
football was snapped out of their hands. This was their shot to have some kind of relevant football. So I'm with you on that one, and that's not what's going to happen.
Yeah,
no, but I mean, again, their quarterback was hurt. He's hobbled around. Like there's only so much you can do, right? It's the most important part of the team. Right. And then there were some drop passes that were at key moments. One that was a fantastic catch over the helmet of another guy. His second foot lands out of bounds. So I mean, there were just some things that didn't go St. Louis's way. But the biggest thing was just before the end of the first half, AJ McCarron, who had a hurt ankle, gets nailed on that ankle. Right, half of the other team was already in the locker room before he got off the carpet. So I mean, it wasn't going their way. Right. So. Ultimately, do I think it's going to be better for the league that they're not in there? Probably, because AJ McCarron is hurt. So how good of a game would it be next week anyway?
That makes sense.
Yeah. And to be fair, San Antonio had stifled him pretty well up to that point, even before he got hurt. Like their defense
no doubt.
Was on it for the whole first half. Like the final score looks a little closer because they kind of made a push later on. But San Antonio's defense is for real, Wow. And you do have the storyline now. The only game that Birmingham lost this year was to San Antonio. So that's at least a good subline as well.
That's a nice wrinkle. Okay.
Yeah. So
you at the game, man. So it's like ambiance, the whole vibe. What was going on?
first, the fans are trying. You can definitely tell. You know,
what does that mean?
Yeah. Well, because you think about like your NFL situation and your college situation, and you have so much more there. So the fans that were out there, they're supporting the team. They're out there tailgating before the game. You know, I picked me up a nice little burger and chips while I was out there from a random guy that's out there, that extra burger.
Random guy?
So I appreciated that. You get in the stadium and
Herb's out there getting roofied by a guy in the parking lot.
I mean, I don't understand burger, so
random guy part is he a vendor? Does he work there?
No, he's just out there tailgate. I watched some other people eat the burgers first, so and one of my group, Big Mike, was with us, and he didn't eat the burger, so I was covered on all bases. You know, I was good.
All right, so if Big Mike don't show up for our show on Thursday, who am I talking to? Am I coming to you, or am I going to the random vendor guy?
Mike is good. Mike is good. He refused the burger, and he wanted free football, so that was good. So
okay, all right.
You know, it's funny because the viewership has actually been pretty solid. So from what I was reading, the Stallions have been averaging over 30,000 fans.
Right.
I mean, that's solid.
Yeah, you can tell. And then, of course, part of it is it's weird when you're in the stadium because they don't let you sit on one half of it. And there's even like in this one end zone, you can't sit in these seats up here. You know what I mean? You've got to start here and go around. So you're only using half the stadium. So it always does look packed. You didn't know that, Mr. U, or is that why that looked?
Absolutely not. No, I had no idea.
Yeah. They only let you sit in half the stadium. So you can't even go to
what's happening on the other half?
Nothing. Like absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So we entered in on
baseball teams tarp sections.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we talked about that before with the Oakland Athletics, but I didn't know that was happening here.
That's what's happening here. So when you look up there and you see how packed the stands look, I mean, it is, those are fans. But if they pan to the other side, there's nothing. Absolutely nothing on that side of the stadium. So when you're in there,
how does it sound with that scenario going? Does it sound louder?
Because it sounds fine because everybody's packed in on this side. So all your regular fans are packed in on that side. So it looks, I mean, they're all compact. And then in the end zone, they have like the crazy fans who all take all their shirts off all game, no matter the gender or age. So that section is also a little crazy too. So like
Birmingham is getting into it.
Yeah. So it's a good atmosphere to be. We didn't even go to our seat. We stood up, I guess, on the little walkway up there at one of the end zones and watched
the whole game.
Yeah, the whole game. So
wow,
it was fun there. Plus, also like you kind of a little more freedom of movement. So it's funny because it's obviously the South and approaching summer. So the section filled up more as the shade came down. So there's like several people there and 1 million people on the walkway. And then somewhere around the third quarter, the section is like actually filled and there's less people up there on the walkway.
That makes sense. I get that part, I think.
Yeah. So, and something I never thought I would say, and I don't know, I saw Dean Mondino on the other game, but Mike Pereira being on the game kind of brings an element more of like, okay, we're taking this seriously. And I don't get why reviews, because we're sitting right up under the board, right? Mm-hmm. And we turn around to see all the reviews. And one of the plays that happened against us, and they were like, we fumbled. Well, we didn't fumble. No way. We look up there, and Mike gets up there, spins the wheel. Yep. And you see this right here. And then, yep. Okay, absolutely a fumble. And it was like 2 seconds later, I went, yeah, I guess that was a fumble. Like, it just, I don't get that. And like, it seems like in any of the other games, it just kind of sped things along. And it was just, it was a nice little touch. Made me feel like, all right, this actually is an important game because there's Mike Pereira on it, But,
and there's elements like that the NFL are going to steal, right? Like they are looking to take the first down marker cameras, right, to make it less of a judgment call, right? Because there's so many cameras that are already trained on it anyway. So they're going to kind of go that route. The chain gang will still exist, obviously, but they're going to use the multiple camera angles to determine where that line to go really was.
Okay.
So
at least they're talking about it. We'll see.
Yeah.
Man, so you actually, well, let's say good morning to some folks real quick now. Have you come back and give me more of your reaction. So good morning to Mom in the house, always representing.
Yep.
Our family from Shake Back is in the house. Good morning, Willie Jr. in the house, y'all. Uh-oh. This is one half of the Herb and Raj podcast. You ever watch
always
this?
count on brotherly love.
I don't know how you watch our show. You don't watch their show. That's weird to me. Explain that later in the comments. But it's one half of the Herb and Raj podcast every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. CST. They are always going back and forth. Here we are again. Good morning, gents. We got Roll Tide, which is obligatory on this show. And then, what is Herb blabbing about now? Wow. Starting the morning off. Do you have any coffee this morning? Did you do anything? The morning
I think that is his morning coffee. Let me insult Herb real quick.
What is happening? This is just crazy to me. But thanks for joining us, everybody. And for your questions and comments in there, we want them. Keep them coming. All right, so Herb. So overall, great experience. You enjoyed it. Are you more invested in the UFL now because you actually went to a game and kind of saw what they're trying to? Well,
I mean, he went and bought merch, right?
Okay.
Yep. Oh, and hey, I did want to say something, Mr. Yu, to my earlier question. I didn't know either that they only did the half stands. I was confused when I walked in there. So I didn't want to think it was just you. It was also like I went.
I thought they had more people being a part of it, especially in Birmingham. Yeah. That was the highest number that we saw starting at the first 1 or 2 games of the season. We talked about it on the show. They had the highest numbers of everybody.
Yeah. So is that just is that at all the stadiums, or is that just because of the size of that stadium? Because I know that they do a lot of that stuff if the size of the stadium is real big.
Oh, okay. That part I honestly don't know. This was like the first full game that I watched all year, and then like most of San Antonio, St. Louis ended up being the second. So I don't know, and I was relying on people that had actually been to more games. Like the other games that I wanted to go to ended up falling on weekends, like like my birthday weekend and like stuff where we had other stuff going on. So we meant to go to games earlier, but Herb is Rollo or Raj is Lamont or versus. Oh, good Lord. So I didn't know. And yeah, that is, I mean, it is a decent sized stadium. They obviously UAB plays there, and then they host bowl games too, as well. The Birmingham Bowl is held there too. So it is a good sized stadium. But
yeah, so they probably do it because of that.
Yeah. And the effect is much better. Had those fans been able to spread out on the other side, it wouldn't have been. It would have sounded
like Little League game, probably.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing is it hurts TV ratings because then it looks like nobody's even going to the game.
Yep.
It's why concerts, like if you go to a concert, it always looks like it's packed, right? Because they will get that camera angle where it gets the people right in front, and they'll ignore the rest of the stadium that's totally empty. But in the pictures, looks like it was jammed out. And that way, the next time they come to town, they're like, oh man, we better get our tickets because it looks like it sells out. Right. So, similarly, they do that kind of stuff when it's a big stadium. They bunch everybody down, block sections off. So it still looks like people are going.
Yeah. I could see that.
Restaurants do the same thing. They just do it in reverse.
Yeah. So I liked it. I will say this though, my only, not negative, not about the experience. The experience was great. Being there was great. I feel like there's very few sports where I could say, man, going to a game is was a wasted experience. Like it's always a great experience, right? But when you watch the gameplay, sometimes you are like, okay, this is So Adrian Martinez, the Stallions quarterback, like is likely an MVP, or he's definitely an MVP candidate, right? Mm-hmm. He gets pulled in this game in the third quarter, which, by the way, 6 turnovers in one quarter, 3 by each team. There was 4 interceptions and 2 fumbles. Like
that's not good.
Is the craziest thing. And when I'm watching Martinez, like first off, he led the league in rushing. It's never what I want for my quarterback anyway. He was late on every single throw. Like when he got pulled, nobody was surprised. And then, his backup comes in and throws an interception. So I was like, I don't know what we're dealing with now. But he was late on every single thing. I was like, this is the MVP. And it's like, a guy would get open and he would go, okay, he's open. And then throw, you can just tell that your level is still a level below.
Kudos to that coaching staff, right? Because what they teach in every coaching area ever is consistency. So to have that backup come in, immediately throw a pick, good on them.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
we were definitely consistent. It was just a crazy game to watch. But
so you saw that one live, and you followed the Brahmas and the Battle Hawks. Do you have a prediction? I mean, I'm sure you're probably going to. you already did it with that shirt and hat today.
Yeah,
but
I got it. I'm so biased, man. I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Like you can never ask me predictions because you could be like, hey, Herb, the 49ers are playing the Crimson Tide this weekend. I'd be like, oh, it's a grown man. They're gonna whoop. Da, 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 da. Who's gonna win? Oh yeah, I'm going with Alabama. I mean, like that's like there is no. I just can't bring myself to say the words. We'll get off air and I go, oh yeah, we're gonna get smoked. This is terrible.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, that's fair.
So, but I do like. I think the defenses will both come to play. So I think you'll probably see a lower scoring game than what you might expect out there. Be interesting to see which quarterback the Stallions put out there because the game plan also wasn't consistent either. We abandoned the run game. Like the fourth quarter, we started running the ball, and JB, shout out to Sports Talk, but JB turns to me and goes, well, they should be fresh. Because I think the last time we saw the running backs, he's like one run in the third. It was a weird game plan. And Corral definitely was the better passer on the day. And San Antonio was
amazing when somebody says that. That's amazing when somebody says that. It's like the things that I've seen, I'm like, okay, really?
I mean, to me, there was like two things. He seemed like the better passer, and Martinez led the league in rushing. Like that just tells me everything right there about my quarterback, So
that's why I'm leaning towards the Brahmas.
Wow.
You're dead to me, Bo. Dead to me.
Wow.
It's that exact reason, though, is the Brahmas have a good defense.
Yeah.
Their quarterback play is okay, right? Like, it's not great.
Right.
He basically had the same stat line as A.J. McCarron in this last game.
Right.
He had one more touchdown, obviously, but otherwise, it was almost the exact same stat line. So I don't feel great about it because you're producing the same stat line as a dude that's been hobbled and can't hardly move around.
Right.
So I don't feel great about their quarterback play, but their defense is good.
It is legit. Yeah.
And to your point, your guy is a little bit late on throws. And if you're going against a good defense, that's problematic.
That's trouble. Yeah.
So I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be close.
Yeah,
but,
I do too. This doesn't seem like either team is built to run away from the other.
No.
And Birmingham is built to kind of come from behind because I guess that's what they do every game. So
I don't know about that.
Your quarterback
are better than that. Their games are better than that.
I mean they fall behind. It seems like frequently. Like this game was ugly to start. They kind of closed close to the end of the first half, and then held them scoreless for the whole second half. But I'm sitting here watch us come out of the gate, throw an interception like on the first play of the second half, and I'm like, this is just what is going on?
I got to tell you guys something now. You already said it on record. It's already on the radio, so to speak. It's on the air that you guys have this game on in the background. You guys are painting. You're working in the garage. It's in the background.
Oh, no. I full on watched it.
This one. I'm talking about in general for the entire season. That wasn't what was happening.
Right. Oh, no. Well, the times were a little bit obscure from time to time. So, like, it was at a spot where
I couldn't find a Sunday game. I don't even know when it even happened. I was trying to find it. Couldn't find it.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to go look up the channel first, I think, and then go search it out. If you didn't do that, and then can I also say this? Like, if you go to ESPN and their scores, like I'm on the app, and I'll scroll down, I can't get a play-by-play. I can there's the score. I can't click to get any more information because we're in the middle of the third quarter. I'm like, man, is that 6 turnovers? Is that 5? You get caught up in how fast everything's happened. I'm like, I pull out my phone, I go to look. Yeah, it's like the most obscure. It's just like, hey, I want to see what they were. Obviously I'm sitting there watching, but yeah.
So
you are correct on the other one. There was never a time when it was my main game. So you are correct on that. For me, if I watched one, it was background.
What I want to say was every UFL game. This is not an exaggeration. Every single one of them is like this. Yeah. That's the part. That's the reality of this. Every one is like that. I've talked about it on multiple times. In the fourth quarter, are probably some of the best fourth quarters of football I may have ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Those games are exciting in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Leading to the third quarter, we're talking about 3-3. I mean, it's happening in every single game. I don't know how they're going to fix that.
Right.
But they all are uninspiring until they get to the fourth quarter. I don't know what changes in the fourth quarter. The same personnel, same guys. They ain't really subbing a whole bunch of guys out. It's the same guys. Yeah. And they look and they play differently. They respond differently. They're more aggressive. I don't know why that is or how they fix that. But they have to. You can't wait till a fourth quarter tune into a game. The ratings would really suck if that happens. You got to have a good first and third quarter too.
Time's going to help that.
Huh?
Time is going to help that
Time's going to help that.
Yeah, because you're going to have these teams playing together longer, right? I mean, so you go from 2 separate leagues, they play for a season, then they merge together. A lot of those teams got disrupted during that process because of the teams that went away. They had a draft type of thing where they robbed from all those teams, right? So you had tons of turnover for this year too.
Right.
As you move forward, because it looks like this league is going to have a few years on it because of the fact that Fox is a part owner. So their TV contract is good to go, right? So the good thing about that is you're probably going to see the game play get better as they progress because they're going to filter guys out.
Okay. Year
1, like I mean, whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. But like moving forward, the longer you play, the better you're going to be, right? I mean, you played sports, right? Were you good? Were you better?
I'm looking at the USFL and XFL because I was trying to follow that because I love football. I was trying to make it work, even though it wasn't working for me. I was trying to make it work, and I saw some of the same stuff, even though it was years in. So you said with time it's going to be better. So I'm like, part of me is like, okay, is it going to get exponentially better with time, or is there another problem that we're not discussing? That's all I'm saying. I'm not.
Well, no,
you're talking about. I didn't see that with the USFL or the XFL. Both of them, they both had low scoring games, just like the ones we're seeing right now. That's all I'm saying.
Sure, because both of them played a year, and then you come to this, you strip all those teams apart, you build all new teams and all new league again. So it's essentially still the first year of it.
Okay, that's fair. We give some time.
So, I mean, the longer you play, the better it's going to be because they're going to work some of these things out. I mean, the NFL been around for 100 years, right? Fair. They're still tweaking rules every year to try and make the product better.
They're habitual button turners is what I think they are.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, they're always trying to tweak things to make the game better. So, I mean, being year 1 in the league, I didn't expect it to be great. I did want to see some better football, but it's sort of what I expected. I think one of the things that might ultimately help it moving forward is the fact that college football is now going to pay players. So since they're no longer going to be amateurs, right? They basically killed the amateurism thing, even though it's still part of the rule. So I'm not sure how they're going to make that work. But I think it'll make the transition from college to have a sneeze. It's like hanging out. Okay. From college to things like the UFL, I think it'll make those transitions easier because you're not going to necessarily have the amateurism rule. Like if you go, maybe you can't go back to college because if college is going to pay, you're not an amateur anymore. So maybe that amateurism rule finally goes away and maybe you can pop over to a spring league and then still make it back to your D1 school.
Gotcha.
You might see the quality of the game start to elevate.
Okay. I got one more question for Herb. First, good morning, Harry. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning, man. Great having you in here. Can't wait to hear your comments and questions. All right. So Willie asked if you want to be Rollo or you want to be Lamont. I don't. Is there context for this comment that I'm not aware of?
I guess it's a Sanford and Son.
Well, I know it's a Sanford and Son reference. Yeah. Why is she calling you Rollo or Lamont? Am I missing something?
I have no idea. We've never had that conversation before.
I thought something that was going on in the past I wasn't aware of.
Oh no. There's no context. I think he just watching us go back and forth and said, "Yeah."
Raj laughed at it, so he must have thought it was something funny about him being Lamont. So I don't know what happened there. They weren't even brothers, so I didn't totally understand what was happening there. But it's all good. All right, and Raj got his prediction in there, 21-10. I mean, Raj, it's like it's hard to receive this from you because you straight Roll Tide and Alabama.
I'm more like 13-10.
You know, none of those normal football scores are going to be a thing because of the way the extra points work.
True.
No 21-10 game is going to happen.
I haven't seen that the entire season. Did it ever happen? If I did, I missed it.
I mean, well, because of the 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. Which, by the way, I like that wrinkle. It was a fun wrinkle. in that the 1-2s and the 3s. So
I'm
down with that.
Because you have to score that way anyway. I would go for 2 every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Having that extra 2 yards.
Yeah.
Gives your receivers a little bit of room. Like
I
I'm
agree.
not mad at that at all. So,
I'm always shocked at the 1-point try. I'm like, what was like? Why?
Unless you just have a bruiser of a running back, right? Like if you got Mike Alstott back there, you're going for 1 because that is a guaranteed 1, right? Because that dude was a wrecking ball.
Yep.
Or if you had the fridge, right?
Yeah.
Like he would just fall forward for a yard because he weighed 400 pounds.
All right. So since we're talking about Willie and he is on here listening with us, taking sampling some pot shots at the brothers. I don't know what's going on there, brother. But all right. So before the season started, this was this last season?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was over a year. Okay. So this was the season before, the preseason before this, the one that we're in right now. We had a super show where many podcasting and experts, if you will, were on the shows. Multiple shows to be had over the course of about 3 days. We were doing predictions. We were talking about division predictions, Super Bowl predictions, the whole 9 yards. Talking about contracts, individual players, etc. Everything NFL. We were covering it all. And we were talking about Darren Waller because he's Willie's a fan of the Raiders. That's his hometown team. And Waller used to play there with limited results. So when he came over to the Giants, was I incorrect in what I said? Was it not?
We didn't say it was still it can be a shot and be correct.
Exactly. 2 things can be true.
Y'all fact checking me. Come on with it. I mean, I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing out here.
We're not fact checking. We are not disputing what you're saying. We are saying it's still a shot.
I wasn't trying.
Shots can be true.
We were laughing at the delivery. That's all.
Yes, that was good. Hey, we're right behind you, going, yeah.
Okay, I mean, I just thought that's kind of what was happening. I watched those games in Vegas, and that's what I saw. But anyway, anyways, so he came to the Giants. The Giants were excited about the Giants fans. At least were excited about this. And Willie Willie cast a little bit of shade.
That's where you need. That's where you need a graphic with Mr. U just dragging garbage cans to the corner.
Yes.
I mean, no, I'm not. I ain't trying to do any of that. Y'all guys are egging me on. I ain't trying to do any of that stuff, man.
We're not egging you on. We're behind you, going, yeah, you got this. You, what's up now?
Oh man. But anyway, the bottom line was that when he came over, the Giants fans thought that he was gonna be an asset to the team, bring some production, help DJ out. Listen to this guy.
Amen, brother. Amen.
I like that Herb's just down there like, yeah.
Yeah. What? You don't want none of this?
It's really funny.
Say something.
Funny stuff, man. But I predicted that he would play a certain amount of games because Willie thought that he wouldn't play more. I think he said like 10 games. So I'm shouting you out, Willie, because he played 12 games, more than what you said. But at the end, you were actually correct. He didn't hang out very long. I'm not putting that comment out here on. We don't do that on this show. But I'm sorry, I can't put that kind of stuff out here. I'm sorry, I can't do that. But I see what you're saying. But anyway, so it was just 12 games, and his season is effectively over. His career appears to be over as well. He had some kind of scary medical condition. I read some of it this morning. First time seeing this, I didn't even know about it until this morning. If that's all true, it makes sense to rethink your life and make some adjustments. And you can't be out there getting pounded if you're dealing with issues like what he described in the article that I read this morning. So, honestly, I mean, it is what it is. I like the idea of what we have in our depth chart at tight end. I'm not quite sure where Jack Stoll is at, but the Theo Johnson pick, I was excited about it, period, whether Waller stayed or not. He'd been mentored by him. It didn't matter. It was good no matter what. Now I think it's going to be even better because I think he had a chance to be a TE1. He has all the abilities to do so, not just pass catching, not just route running, but also blocking, which is something that Bellinger, who projects to be the number one guy out there right now, he doesn't do that he does it adequately, but he has some tendencies that are not very good. So if he's correcting that kind of stuff, is good. He's not deep in the route running, pass catching, running. I think Bellinger he was impacted by the quarterback play. He only had like 25 catches for 255. He wasn't targeted a lot. So
do you think his blocking wasn't great because he has some stuff he has to work on, or do you think it was because the rest of the line wasn't great and he couldn't pick up the slack? Because I kind of feel like it might be more that.
Which one?
Where the line just wasn't very good. So like he was overpowered in ways that I don't really blame him for, because he didn't have the inside help on some of those blocking plays. So don't get me wrong. Like I don't think he's a great blocker or anything, but I think his blocking isn't as bad as it looked.
I guess if you go by the scouting report, talk about how he would lunge more than he needed to. I mean,
so he's reaching out for contact. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, I think you can fix that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
To be honest though, to be fair, because we had such a rough season, I didn't pay attention to that, so I don't know whether he fixed it or not. It might be fixed, and this could be old news. If it is, forgive me for even bringing it up. But I don't know if anything was fixed. But I like the tight end room overall. Like I said, I don't know Jack Stoll from Philly. I mean, I haven't paid him any attention. I had no idea what. I know he's great in academics. I know that part, but I don't know anything else about him. So everybody's out here just battling for some spots and whatnot. I didn't mention Chris Manhurst because I'm not sure if he's anything more than just a body on this team. He's been bounced around and waived more times than we've had episodes. So I don't know what to do with that. So it kind of just is what it is there. But
I like that Willie is taking shots where it's just like a shotgun. Like it's just like a spread blast, like maximum hate.
Yeah, I'm hearing that. I think he meant Waller in this particular comment. Yeah. He has more bars than get. I heard one clip of his music, his rapping, I guess you could say. I'm like,
yeah,
okay. I'd rather you catch passes and stay healthy, but okay, go ahead and spit.
Oh no, he just knew he was retiring. He's like, I guess this is my next thing. Should do it while I'm still on a run. No, it's definitely not. But it wasn't AB's thing either. So I mean,
yeah, everybody can't spit bars. They're trying out here. They even get an award for it, but it sounds like trash a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, he can go to bars. Like I think those are the bars he should be hitting.
Yeah, it's not good. But we free up $11.6 million, which is sketchy to me because I've been watching that number for a long time, and it was never that. It was 12.6. Everywhere I looked, all of a sudden, $1 million went missing. Now it's 11.6 getting freed up. But okay, whatever. So that's a lot of money. We could do something with that. But I'm in that same vein, I want to get into a few teams that have a lot of money on their books that they can spend. The Pats, they got $44.2 million. The Commanders got $43.8 million. The Lions, which is surprising to me, they got $38.4 million. They are stacked already, and they got a lot of money just sitting there. The Raiders, who we just aforementioned, the Raiders, Willie's team, $34.1 million. They ain't got no draft picks, but they got money though. And the Cardinals, they got about $34 million. And they made some little moves. All of them have. And we could talk about if you guys have anything that jumped out that were moves that you noticed or areas that need to be addressed. I want to try to bring some NFL into the conversation. I want to hear from you, Raj, also about the Raiders, because they got your boy from the Dolphins, Christian Wilkins. That's where he ended up going, right? 4 years, $110 million. So
missed that signing, I guess.
Yeah. So I think everybody. I don't know how we missed it because he was, like I said, the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm just saying.
We talked about how he even got out of the building
on too that he went.
So I mean, The Raiders still got heavy secondary issues that they have to solve, but they just spent big money on Wilkins and still got $34 million they can spend. The Cardinals got money. They got a lot of issues with edge rushing. The big guys like Ogba used to be on the Browns and Carl Lawson. I forgot what team he used to play for before this, but they got injury history and they got a lot of issues with pass rush, and it's been a problem for them, and they haven't really dealt with that even in the draft, getting an elite pass rusher. The Lions, You hear the name Jameson Williams. We got a buddy of ours, Jeremy. He has a show that's all Detroit Lions, and you hear Jameson Williams' name come up on every one of his episodes. Because beside the personal stuff, the Lions need a reliable receiver. Not saying Amon Ra is not that, but they need to have more of that to help Goff out and help push this team a little further. So they were talking about guys like bringing Hunter Renfrow in and maybe some other guys that are free on the open market. And then with the Commanders, they got a few things that are issued. They think about Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore, excuse me. Sorry, Stephon Gilmore used to be with the Patriots. 33 years old, I think he is now. He played with the Cowboys last year. He's a free agent now. And the Commanders had the worst defense in yards allowed per game in the whole entire league. And they had the worst passing defense as well. But they got a lot of stuff to cover. I don't think their offense is even done putting pieces together, but they got $43.8 million to work with. So you're going to see some moves there, I would guess. What are you showing us here, Willie? This is Crosby and Wilkins. Oh, that's probably a Raiders line.
For the Raiders.
Yeah, I know Crosby and Wilkins have to be or D lines. Okay, I'm with you. I don't know Wilson. Kunz, I heard that name. Okay, so Commanders have $43.8 million. So they got a lot of areas to work. They got Luke McCaffrey at wide receiver. They drafted him. Ed McCaffrey's little boy. Christian McCaffrey's brother. And the Patriots, they got $44.2 million. That they have the most of all of them. Well, close to, the most of all. And they got a bridge quarterback, Brissett, out there taking the pressure off because I think May is not ready. And they got a lot of money they need to spend because the projected number one is Kendrick Bourne. I mean, he never had more than 800 receiving yards in the entire season. He's been bounced around. It's probably his 5th or 16th, something like that. So they got areas at wide receiver 2 and 3 that need to be covered. The guys they got, Douglas and Polk, they're not ready. They're not ready to take this team to that place. I think the whole team is probably not ready. They got a lot of work to do out there. Juju is out there, but I get you got to ask yourself, where is he at in his career? Do you feel like he can be that guy? He's not even being named the number one wide receiver. It's like, wow, that's interesting. Is somebody with that kind of pedigree, in comparison to all the other guys on the team, isn't considered the number one. What does that tell you? I think he had 260 receiving yards in 11 games last year. So I guess that could be part of the reason why. But these guys got money. Who do you like here to, as far as out of these 4-5 teams, direction that they're going, how much money they have? And you know what? Let's make it a little harder. Don't stay Detroit. Let's find somebody else because that's too easy because they're already ascending. They're being called a Super Bowl team, whether you believe that or not, and they have a buttload of money right now. So beside Detroit in this list, Patriots, Commanders, Cardinals, and the Raiders, who do you like? Not because how much money they have, but the direction they're going, along with the fact that they have flexibility financially. Who do you like out of that four-pack of teams?
I would say Washington, I guess, for the future. I mean, just because they got one of the top, 2 quarterbacks this year. And maybe it's kind of more like, I'm not going to pick the Pats because they've just fallen off a cliff in recent years. I'm not going to pick the Raiders because Willie's watching and we gotta stick it to them.
Unless they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah. And then it's like Arizona, it's kind of like, do I believe in Kyler Murray for the long term? And I'm not sure that I do. So it's like kind of almost default out of those 4. I'm going with Washington. So it's not like they're winning the race. They're just not losing that race. So it's like,
in cartoons where they're trying to pick somebody and everyone takes a step back.
Yes.
There's not one guy. That's Washington.
Yeah.
Right? Like Washington
that's what I feel like.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't get that memo. For me, it's Washington because we don't know what they're going to be. There's so many new pieces. What they're projected to do is all over the place, right? New coaching staff, new ownership group, tons of new players. Like, you don't really know what this team's going to look like. The rest of them, you kind of have an idea what they're going to look like. They have a lot of money because they don't have anybody on their roster. Like, that's why that's why they have a lot of money. And with Arizona, just like you guys, I don't trust Kyler. Yeah. Right? Like, do I think he can go win you a game? Sure. Do I think he can win you into win through the playoffs? Not really. Like there's too much unscripted craziness, right? I'm fine with unscripted if you can stay within what works in a game, but you just scampering around doesn't work in the playoffs, because you know what teams in the playoffs have? Defense.
Thank you. And ability to game plan a little bit more specifically for you. So it's I feel like Kyler in week 9 is going to make some jaw-dropping, evade 3 guys, throw a 30-yard touchdown, and we're going to go, and like I said, in the playoffs, if they actually get there, you're going to go, oh, yeah, that doesn't seem to work anymore. So,
well, and the worst thing is he doesn't protect the football when he runs. Right. No. One of the funniest comparisons, which is it's messed up but hilarious, is they're like, Kyler looks like a toddler that stole your phone and is running away. Right. And if you think about it, that is how he holds the ball. Like it's out here. Like if he gets somebody that gets him from the blind side while he's running, that's a fumble every time, because he does not have good ball handling skills as soon as he starts to run. Right. He doesn't tuck that thing away and go. Like he's that loaf of bread, ball out here thing. And so, he will absolutely have that game where he evades a bunch of people, probably scores. And you're going to be like, man, that's amazing. It's going to be on Sports Center. It's going to be one of the highlights for the whole season. And then if they do make it to the playoffs, they'll be a one and done.
Yeah. Dude, this is a tough question, man. This is a tough question because especially when you take the Lions out of it, it was a lot easier when the Lions were still in the discussion. But
sure. I mean, that's like a T-ball hit right there. You're just like, do I think they're going to be good? Yeah, I do.
Anybody argued against them, we'd have had a good fight there.
But the Commanders, that's rough. I mean, I hear what you're saying, Herb, but that's going to be a rough one because they have a massive O-line issue still.
Yeah.
And Howard got sacked.
Like I said, I'm not advocating for them
last year, man.
Yeah, I'm not advocating for them. I'm just more advocating as like you're not going to hear me sit up and argue for the Pats. Like, you know,
they just didn't step back.
We've already been beating up Willie all day. We can't advocate for the Raiders now. We can't turn now. Like,
we're gonna come back to that one in a second.
I mean, they got Rod Farva under center. I don't think I don't think they're going to be doing much.
Anyways, but Howard got sacked 65 times. Like that's an NFL high, and the O-line really hasn't really been addressed. So they got the money for it. I don't know who they're going to get. I got a list of O-line free agents. I got a list of NFL free agents. Period in front of me, a whole bunch of them. But I don't see a name on that list that's going to help them enough. They need like 3 of them to help keep our Howard safe. So it's a tough one. I am probably going to go with the Cardinals on this one.
Yeah.
Just because of the quarterback play in comparison.
Right.
Because if Daniels don't have an O-line, I don't care how good you are. We see how that looks. It don't look good. So I'm going with that one. Now, this front four is the best in the NFL thing. Do we agree with that? We will agree with Willie's assessment that their front four is the best in the NFL? That sounds kind of like a homerism to me. I want to make sure we're not.
Yeah, I don't know if I can sign off on that one.
Best in the NFL?
Yeah.
Can we have some examples? Some other teams front four? We don't have time to do it ourselves.
Maybe a question then for next week, or I mean, you guys know them better, so I'm expecting y'all to come up with who's the better one.
Front four. We got to ponder that one a little bit. I can think of some teams that have good ones, but
because that's how I always say, if we're gonna say no, then somebody's got to come up with a counter to his argument. I feel
like the two guys, Kuntz and Wilson, I don't even know who they are, so it doesn't mean they're not good. I just haven't heard their names.
No, I mean the Raiders' defense is great. Like they have a good defense. They just don't have an offense that does anything. Right. I mean, unfortunately, when you looked around the league, there was plenty of that. Right. The Browns, great defense, offense couldn't get it together. The Jets, great defense, offense couldn't get it together. The Steelers, amazing defense, offense couldn't get it going. Right. And they won a lot of games in spite of bad offensive play. Right. The problem is when you go to the playoffs, those teams play on both sides of the ball. Right. So it's that's why I don't have a lot of confidence in the Raiders being able to do anything, or the Cardinals. The Pats obviously are not doing anything at all. Like they're probably the worst team out of the 4 you gave. But and that's the only reason I went with Washington is they have the most question marks,
right?
Which can be good and bad,
right?
Like it can be bad. Like we may watch some horrendous gameplay, but you may not, right? That's the thing is we don't really know what they are yet.
Right.
Yeah, I think I picked the Cardinals, and I'm jump to Roger's comment real quick and Willie's follow-up comment. I picked the Cardinals because it has some kind of stability at quarterback at least.
Right.
And their O-line is not something that people are talking about as a problem. They got to get elite pass rushers. Whether they're out there in free agency, I don't know. Like I said, I have a list in front of me. I don't see elite pass rushers in front of me, but I see people who can help out. I mean, if you like Ngakoue, he can help them. If you like Carl Lawson, he can help them. So they have a better outlook to me, at least a short term one, at least for the next couple of years.
Short term for sure. Like if you said who's going to have the better record next year, I would go with you with Arizona. But maybe 3 years from now, I'd want to see where Washington was versus, it seemed like every year in Arizona's they're like, hey, are we getting rid of Kyler or not? So how long can you really continue that?
I mean, Arizona's going to have a tough time though, because it's going to be hard to get wins just within the division.
Right. I'm just saying in comparison to the other 4, I think they'll have a better record than to the other 3, but not.
No, I just mean
record.
They may not because of how tough this division is going to be to get out of.
Right.
Okay. So, before we get into the Caitlin Clark stuff to round us out, okay, Raj, the co-host says, hate that we let Wilkins go, but I'm hoping, praying, begging that our D can hold up. He just spent the bag it's a lot of hope going on. Hope ain't the strategy. 4 years, $110 million, 84 guaranteed. Why y'all didn't pay him that?
Yeah. Raj was not happy. He said it immediately when it happened. So this isn't even like looking back. The first thing, and Big Mike was the same way. We had the group chat and they were both like, why? So this isn't second guessing. This is first guessing.
Absolutely. Willie said, you guys are absolutely incredible. Chemistry is off the charts. Content is amazing. Hope to see you guys soon. Keep up the great work and thanks for the shout out. Our pleasure, sir. We love you. We appreciate all you do on your side too, man. Thanks for doing what you do, man, and for inviting us into this world. So I appreciate it, man. And this is in reference to, I think, the front 4 being the best in the NFL. Yeah, we need to look at that because I want to see what's out there before we say that. I don't know if this is something that you guys want to research for next week, or Wednesday, however you want to do it. But we got to do that because I ain't ready to concede that just yet. I need to actually see that first before we do that. And he also says that Washington has a higher ceiling at QB than with Jaden. Well, yeah. My concern is the O-line. I mean, to get sacked 65 times in one season, I mean, I said the NFL high. It is, but it's a lot.
It is.
So it's like you can't overlook that and then come into this season and not really address that stuff. And I don't think they really have addressed it where you know what, it's almost like they addressed it and thought it wasn't a real problem. Like, oh, we're going to get some pieces here. But, no, it should be like your house is on fire. Get the extinguisher or your whole house is going to burn down. They don't have that kind of urgency with this one. That's going to be good for the rest of the NFC East, but it's like it's not good for them. So quarterback-wise, he probably has the highest ceiling unless you really like Drake May. That's your call. But they do have the highest ceiling there from most speculation. But, man, the O-line ain't right. What's he going to do? He's going to run the entire time with his build. He's going to be running and being a runner all the time. How's that going to turn out? Honestly, it's not going to be good. So, let's be honest about that. But I understand he has the highest ceiling. No dispute from me in that regard. I think Drake May might surprise some folks. I think the Patriots might not be 5 years away from being competitive. I think it's going to be a lot faster than that because they have the money and they usually spend it very well. They got a history of doing that. Belichick's not there, so I don't know how involved he was in all of that stuff, but they have a good history of at least getting the benefit of the doubt, at least, that they can bounce back a lot faster. The names they have, they're not great names on paper, but I'll be watching them this year to see what they do. They're not going to compete in that division. It's just not going to happen. But who knows what's going to happen between now and next year, where they end up in the season at in drafting. Who knows? They might be competitive. I mean, because the guys are saying it right now, excluding the Dolphins, it's like, are they ascending up, or is this like a one-shot deal? This is the year, or I mean, there's a lot of instability in that division outside of the Dolphins. So that's just my opinion. People might say, "Oh man, they all stud, the best division in the world." I'm like, okay, I don't agree with that at all. So we'll see.
I wouldn't agree with that either.
Yeah, I think Buffalo is going in a different direction. Bills fans might not want to hear that, but I think they're going in a different direction than what they should be going in at this point in time. They've been mercurial, to say the least, up and down, like a pendulum and a roller coaster all combined. And it's like that's not a good thing. And now you got Diggs not there anymore. You got rid of Davis too. Shocking to me. I'm like, okay, at least keep one. So now you're starting from scratch with a number one receiver. I don't know who they have there, but I doubt that he's the number one because there ain't nobody else, not because he outplayed everybody. So I don't know. This is going to be a weird division, but the Pats are not as far. I think they're going to be out of the cellar faster than people might think. I'll just say that much and leave it there. All right. So every single week on every show I've been on, excluding our wrestling show because she don't wrestle, we've been talking about Caitlin Clark.
That's coming though. That's coming.
Hey,
That's coming.
Some of these hits aren't far off.
She can't say no hits.
Yeah.
She ain't got the bill for this. She can't take no body slamming no chair shot.
Yep. Which is, by the way, one of the reasons why she's having a rough year. She definitely needs to put on a little more muscle. Some of them,
for sure,
the physicality.
Sure. But she has been thrown to the mat a few times. So, I mean.
Yes. She's getting used to it.
Her name won't be even whispered on that show. Yep. I ain't having it. But we're talking about this so much. I'm hearing so many awesome thoughts and stuff. I even did an interview with a buddy of mine, all WNBA. I'm like, wow, I'm talking about this for an entire hour. And I had plenty to talk about. I'm like, where's this even coming from? So this is definitely a thing. But based on the most recent things that you've been hearing, what are you guys thinking about this? I mean, there's a snub from the women's USA team. A new WNBA league is starting to come up called Unrivaled. I'm like, what are we doing exactly? So there's a lot going on there. And then, of course, people are kind of giving the Chicago Sky players a hard time out in the streets. So it's like, what's going on here? What do you guys think? What are you hearing? Love to hear your thoughts. We got a little time to go into it. So
yeah. So first off, I don't think it was a snub. It's probably unfortunate timing with the process. She was still in college when they started the process to pick the team. And then when everybody says it's a snub, like you look at the players on the team, you're like, well, who are you taking out? And I know a lot of them like Taurasi. Now, Taurasi deserves to go ahead, and she's been, with that team and still playing at a decent level. Let her finish out her career there. Caitlin Clark has many more ahead of her. And they always keep throwing out her scoring and assist numbers. Like her shooting percentages are terrible right now, high turnover rate. And honestly, she could probably use a break because I'm looking at the timeline. April 7th, she was in the national championship game. A week later, she's getting drafted. Then you're going in there. A month later, the season has already started. So somewhere in the middle there was training camp. Like, it's too much anyway. I don't think this is this huge a deal. And she's like, oh, you've awakened to sleep. I understand her comments, but
I don't help me out.
The team.
I don't understand
it. Huh?
That's the thing.
Help me understand the comments. I don't understand.
No, her comment about they've awakened a sleeping giant. That's
I don't understand that.
Later, I'm fine with that.
I mean, she should have been bringing that to the floor if she wanted to be on that team.
No, I'm saying
the thing is she hasn't proven anything in the WNBA yet.
Right.
So I'm fine with her not being on the team.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There are other point guards that are better than her.
Yeah.
As it currently sits today.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So to Herb's point, who would you take off this roster? Nobody. There's nobody I would take off this roster to add Clark. Now, the next time around, is she on it? Yeah, probably. Right. If her game progresses the way everybody thinks that it should be.
Correct.
But you're saying that somebody that is 10 games into her professional career should be starting over somebody that is outperforming her, has more time. Like it makes absolutely no sense at all. So the fact that people are up in arms about it is wild to me because she hasn't earned that spot.
That's a separate issue now, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what? But to your point, Herb, I don't understand the comment. I heard it, but I don't get how you feel like you can say it. Based on what? How do you think you get a buy into this USA team Based on what?
Right.
Yeah.
Awakening a sleeping giant. That sounds that rings hollow to me. I'm like, why are you saying that?
I said I don't mind it because she's a competitor, but I'm not backing her in it. And like I said, when you listen to her, the people behind her, that's what they say. They're like, oh, the attendance numbers. It's the Olympics. Like the Olympics, you're going to be fine without Clayton Clark. Okay, I can understand the WNBA needing him, but the Olympics, you're tuning in because it's the Olympics, you know. And then, like I said, you can't keep saying here's the good numbers and ignore all the bad numbers. You know, when you're trying to prop
let's throw turnovers in there.
Yeah, you're leading the league in turnover. I think last time we checked, but we're just going to ignore that fact, right? And did she hit 30 in their game? Yeah, but there's a lot of single digit numbers, and there's 32%. I think from the field, and like 30. Or I think it's like 34 from the field, 32 from three. Like the numbers are not great, you know. Like I understand, like there's a lot going on with it. So this is not a knock on Clayton Clark. She's been excellent for the league. I definitely think she will improve from here. She probably just needs a huge break, and she needs to put on a little more muscle going into next year. Like those would be the first couple things. Plus, her team is that's a whole nother issue with the way they've built this team. But like,
besides, I don't know. You're going to the Olympics not for a popularity contest or ratings or anything. You're going there for hardware. Yes. Like there's this gold thing that you want to win. So you want the best players you can have on that team. Yeah. She's not one of them yet.
Yeah. And I don't even know how they think this would work anyway. What was it? Was it Isaiah Thomas that got frozen off the team, you know, when they want to get to him? And Michael Jordan, when he was young in the All-Star game, they froze him out because of it. Clayton Clark would never touch the ball because half these people don't even like her yet. So it's like she'd be like, "Hey, I'm the point guard. Let me bring it up." Then go, "Yeah, we got this." You know, so it's probably best all around. Give her 4 years and everything will be fine. But
the rest of the team's like, "Yeah, you can go get us some coffee."
Yes,
nothing you guys said was wrong. Yeah. That comment don't even it don't sound. This is I said this. I don't even know what
you're hung up on the sleeping giant thing.
Oh, most definitely. I might go over an hour because of that.
Okay.
That bugs me because it's not consistent with the way she's been talking publicly. They've been beating on her, body slamming her like in wrestling, and she's been humble, talking about, "Hey, that's just a game of basketball. No need to apologize to me. We play hard. It's a physical sport." And now you're not on this team.
I mean, she chirps on the floor though.
Yeah,
I know something else.
That's why I expected. That's why I expected that one. I wouldn't.
Something else got to be going on.
Though, one reason why I have liked her is every other controversial thing that's happened, the Angel Reese thing and the Carter, she has dodged them. Like, hey, we're fine. Can we just move on? Let's play basketball. So I'm a forgiver.
She does talk on the floor.
Oh, she does. That's where the Carter, and that's why I said the Carter thing when it happened. Everyone wants to ignore everything and act like, you know, she was just walking around the court and then Carter just came over and body slammed her or something. I'm like, no, did y'all not see everything that happened?
Yeah, like literally the play leading up to it.
Yes, yes. You know, and are you excusing? No, I'm not excusing. It was still a dirty little hit, you know, that you could have done better. But
and you could have even done without getting a tech if you waited half a second for her to receive the ball.
Yeah,
take that on ball foul. That's not a tech.
Now I'm wondering which one's the real Caitlin Clark, because the sleeping giant thing don't fit in none of this in this narrative because you haven't even done it. You just got here a little while ago.
No, it fits with her. It fits with her trash talk, is what it fits with.
Yeah, that's what so with the Angel Reese thing happened. Everyone kind of ignored that she was a trash talker before. Then Angel Reese trash talked her back, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And they were like, "You haven't seen her."
She was literally returning her same stuff, right? Like she started before she even did the ring thing. The first thing she did was this, right? Yes. Which is what Caitlin Clark did the game before, right? So she was just turning her same stuff back at her. It's why I laughed when people are like, "Oh my God, she's
attacking poor Caitlin."
Yeah, they were talking all this about Angel, and you're like, "What are you talking about?" Like she was literally just returning the favor.
Yeah. Although I saw it worse, man. You'd be reading posts of like, yeah, but when Caitlin Clark did it, she was facing this way and she did it to this person. And Angel Reese, I was like, you guys are jumping some hoops here to defend her. So I think I like Caitlin Clark and I don't like her followers. And I think that's kind of what really gets me about her game. And that's what's going to end up making her hated.
Is so you're better with Caitlin Clark doing it to the stadium.
Right.
Rather than Angel doing it to the one that was talking.
Yes.
That also makes no sense.
Also, I mentioned the new proposed WNBA league called Unrivaled. I don't even know what you're gonna do with that name, but what do you guys think about that? Have you heard about that? The new league, I think of Breonna Stewart and I forgot the other young lady.
Asia Wilson, right? Is it Wilson that's doing it?
No, it's not. It's not Asia. Somebody else.
And I had the article when you said it too. I think it's weird to have another league when you're barely supporting the first league, but
that was kind of my thought on it.
That was my thought. I'm like, what am I missing here? You're going to have 3-on-3 on top of that? That's how they're going to play. It's going to be 3-on-3.
It's going to be a 3-on-3?
I'm sorry. Nafisha Collier is the one.
Collier.
Yeah. Who's, by the way, I'm sorry, like, I'm not that much in NBA. Like, I hadn't really followed her game until this year, which she's having kind of a really great year. They're talking about you possibly MVP candidate. But she wasn't a big name for me before this.
This is not. You can't oversaturate this enough because it's not even ready to be duplicated yet because you look at how bad things have been. Again, I ask the same question I always ask every time we talk about the WNBA. When the season start? What was your date?
Yeah.
You don't even know when they playing. Are they playing on Ion TV? Are they playing on Fox? Where they playing at? You don't even know where they playing at. You can't duplicate this thing yet because you ain't got some stuff straight yet.
Yeah. Well, this is a 3-on-3 league, right?
3-on-3 on top of that, almost like what IQ did with the other basketball league. Almost something.
I was going to say there is 3-on-3s are actually successful regionally, right? Yeah. Like wherever has teams, people watch them because 3-on-3 is exciting.
Yeah. Because it's in Olympics now too, right?
Is it?
Yeah. I think the Olympics has no 3-on-3 up.
So. People like 3-on-3. They like watching 3-on-3 in person because it's fast.
Right.
Like it is a very fast game. Boy. So wherever these teams are will probably perform well. They won't perform well on TV. There hasn't been a version of 3-on-3 outside of celebrity games that really seem to work on television. But in person, they get a lot of viewers. Because 3-on-3, again, it's fun to watch. It's fast. There's a lot of quick ball movement, and then a lot of scoring typically.
Yeah,
I think they're in for a hard reality.
Well, again, like I don't think on TV it's going to work, but in their markets, I think it'll be fine.
They're making a lot of
surprisingly, I agree with her. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, that's impressive. I didn't read the rest of it. I didn't even read the rest of it. That part, the funniest part. I must start laughing at that part.
Yeah. And we do actually have a 3-on-3 team, which is interesting. Cameron Brink, Haley Van Lith, Sierra Boudreaux, I don't even know that is, and Rain Howard. So
I mean, you can fantasy book it and make it work, but it's like, why are you going through all the kinds of? You guys got other things to address in this league, marketing wise, promotional stuff. You need to be build that house before you build you build a shed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Build a house. Well, I mean, first.
Even to your point, even the men's 3-on-3 league that used to be around, it never worked on TV.
Right.
It worked. It worked in their locations.
I tried to watch it, and man, it was a struggle.
Yeah. No. But in their locations, it worked fine. It's why it's around for so long. Is people went to the games, they just didn't watch it on TV.
Yeah.
I ain't enthusiastic about it. I would want to see what you guys thought were.
No, I just think it's weird. And can I also, no offense to Collier, but if I was going to start it, I'd probably grab two of the, Breonna Stewart's a huge star, I get for the WNBA. But I'd almost, you can't pick your partners, I guess, in something like this, but I'd want one of the other bigger names in it to at least start, just to be one of the faces. So, again, no Prince College having a great season, but I just don't know that outside the WNBA, how many names are really, how many people are really going to know that name,
Well, and how do you not have, on your main staff starting it, how do you not have someone like Sue Bird, right? Who everybody does know. She's not going to play, but maybe she's like the commissioner or some sort of role.
Get Nancy Lieberman in there. Get them involved with that. If you really going to back it like that, see, they be involved with it. Their names bring power to all this stuff, but at the same time, they're part of the WNBA, and look what we got.
Yeah. So, I was surprised. When you sent the thing and said this is a thing, I was like, I want to support y'all, but you really need to get the WNBA rolling first.
Yeah, I can't answer Roger's question. I don't have an answer for Roger's question about the salary. I have no idea.
I read the article, but it still seems like they're still working some stuff out and how it's going to come from. So
he answered my question with that, saying how's it going to survive? While the WNBA is still working on increasing their value. That's exactly why you shouldn't do this thing right now.
Yeah,
this should not be. They've been around since '96, and they're still trying to find their place in this big old sports world.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if there was ever a time you were going to launch, is when there's the most new eyes.
Whole thing, and they don't have that. They don't have a true assessment of their value yet. After all these years, 28 years, they don't have a true assessment of their value as a league yet. You're gonna start a brand new league.
Yeah.
That's
now, I will say this in the article. One of their points was to try and keep everybody from having to go overseas in the off season. So I at least like where their head was at. Mm-hmm. Because that is definitely a detriment to the league that half your stars are playing in other countries, and getting better value.
Yeah.
So this league is going to be a replacement for them playing for their home countries.
They're not their home countries. These people that are going overseas, they're not playing for their home countries. They're playing for leagues overseas that are paying them more money.
Ooh.
When Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi were first in the league, Russia would pay them $1 million to come over and play their leagues, outside the WNBA. But the WNBA has made a clause now to where if you're not back by the start of the season, you can't play that season. And what was happening to a lot of them was the championships would bleed over to the beginning of the WNBA season, and they would miss a game or two before they got back. Now, if you do that, you can't play in the whole season. So it's some kind of competition clause or something they came up with. So what they're trying to do is keep them here. But no, it's not going home to pay for your home country. Your home country, 90% of them is here. They're going to play anywhere that'll pay them. So.
Yeah. Okay.
And pay them more than the WNBA.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, guys, a great show as usual. Fantastic love from the comment section. Thank you, Raj and company.
What is this?
Wow.
Man.
Oh.
Wow.
I really need to close this show out, man. But just right here.
That's my brother.
I mean, at this point, you know what? Can somebody just go ahead and screenshot this and put this on Twitter? Get your phone and just screenshot this and put it on Twitter. This is going to live on after this. In fact, if you won't do it, I will. So just know this is happening. I ain't asking your advice.
Somebody needs to send that to me. Then whoever does it, we're posting it on our page.
I'm going to do it because this is a nightmare waiting to happen. So
give me the little edit that you can do after the show.
Oh yeah, I'll let Raj do all of the captions.
Yeah, we're.
I'm sure he has more to add there, but okay.
that one has to live on for a while. That was a good one.
It will. I'm gonna bookmark it for sure.
Yeah.
But wherever you are and
I appreciate you, Raj.
The podcast, we thank you once again for making us a part of your morning, your day, and your week. With your weekly mirror check before you change the world. You just heard from Herb and Raj podcast 8 p.m. CST every Tuesday evening. And of course, Bo's on here with us on Monday mornings and Wednesday wrap up at the same time on Wednesday morning. And of course, on Coast to Coast and multiple other things that he's doing. I'm involved with Sports and Money podcast on Tuesday nights, the Thursday night triple threat, 2 Thursdays out of the month. We just everywhere. We're working hard. We're trying to make this thing a reality. Podcast life, baby. Have a great day. We love you guys. And we thank you so much for all you do for us. Coach out. Let's go.